All right, guys, Rukshan here, and I'm back with another post about garlic. Yes, I've been speaking a lot about garlic recently. I've become quite an expert in garlic over the last couple of days just by looking into this. And I'm back talking about garlic because, of course, recently we had the Doherty Institute, along with garlic producers in Australia and some mainstream media outlets promoting the efficacy of garlic and its antiviral properties as discovered by this garlic producer and research done by the Doherty Institute. But since then, because so many people are now talking about garlic and mocking these institutions and saying, hey, if we knew that garlic worked a long time ago, why did we have to force the population into these vaccine mandates and so on? So you get the idea. So people are angry. People are laughing about this. People are making all sorts of jokes about garlic. I even shared recently some posts that people are putting up now where they have 5 cloves of garlic to show that they've had their 5 garlic boosters. And what's happened now is the mainstream media, the fact checkers, and even the Doherty Institute itself have come out against garlic. That's right. So it didn't take them too long to actually come out against garlic. And I actually said this when I made my original video about the garlic, that they would eventually come out and most likely call this fake news or misinformation or whatever it is. But they're doing it to themselves. So let's have a look at this article and try to unravel what's happening here with Garlic Gate. That's what I've termed this controversy, Garlic Gate. Let's have a look at this article from SBS. All right, so SBS writes, can garlic really cure COVID? Here's what you need to know. An Australian company has been promoting garlic as a cure for COVID-19. It seems too good to be true. Okay, let's have a look. The key points, I think these key points kind of sum up the article. An Australian company claims a strain of garlic have antiviral activity against COVID-19. Research conducted at the Doherty Institute has claimed to prove this to be true, but it hasn't been published. Experts say this could be a cause of dubious scientific information. I mean, just in the key points, it's hilarious because these are the same media outlets that were verbatim going on about the Doherty Institute's modeling and all sorts of other nonsense that they were saying during the COVID-19, lockdowns and all this kind of stuff that we're having in our state. And they did not question the science then. They did not question whether things were published or not, or the veracity of the studies, or what other scientists are saying about these studies. No, they fed it to you verbatim. The government stood up there and said, hey, we're doing all this based on this modeling, even though there was people questioning the modeling, right? Some of this modeling was showing all sorts of crazy stuff that never actually eventuated, but it wasn't questioned then. But now all of a sudden, this same institute releases this information regarding garlic, and it's like, it's dubious scientific information potentially. So let's have a look. Australian grown garlic demonstrated 99.9% efficacy against viruses that cause COVID-19 and the common flu, it was claimed earlier this week. But scientists and medical experts have raised concerns about the efficacy of the science behind these claims. So good to know that the scientists and these experts are finally looking into claims made by these types of institutions. The study has not been published and was commissioned by the Australian garlic producers, a company that grows garlic and produces and sells a number of garlic health products. All right. So what you have to understand here is that the garlic producers commissioned this study, right? They contracted out the Doherty Institute, which is not too dissimilar to the government using the Doherty Institute during the time of their lockdowns and draconian vaccine mandates. It's not too dissimilar at all. This time, a private company has contracted them out, and they've come to a conclusion that suits the narrative of that private company who are selling these garlic products. So, why is it then not okay for us to question the Doherty Institute and the government's involvement with these types of organizations when they're using their modeling, right, to promote pharmaceutical product? Isn't that almost the same exact thing? Does that make that dubious? I think that's what a lot of people have been saying for a long time, that the close relationship between pharmaceutical companies, governments, and these research institutes really makes us question the veracity of the information that we're being given. And here we're seeing a classic example of that, but it's gone against the main narrative of the vaccine. So they're pushing back against their very institutions that they normally turn a blind eye to. I'm not sure what that product they're selling here is. Temu's biggest sale ever. I'm just going to keep going down the strange ad. All right. Yet it has been widely shared by anti-vaxxers and COVID skeptics. This is where the problems come in, because so-called anti-vaxxers and COVID skeptics have latched onto this information. Well, now that's the problem. Associate Professor Adam Dunn from the University of Sydney said, this is a study that is done in vitro, which means it's not done in humans and in the real world. It's done in test tubes. He said he would be extremely wary of studies that claim products work on humans if that's not how they've been tested. Now, I don't want to get into how certain vaccines were tested. Pfizer, I'm not going to get into it, but that's it. You can look into that yourself. So, for example, we have no idea how much garlic is required to kill virus cells or viruses. We have no idea whether the design of the study was transparent, whether the protocol was reported online, and how they reported it, he said. The press release claimed certain unique Australian-grown garlic varieties demonstrate antiviral activity, but did not give detail on what exactly these garlic varieties are or why they may have antiviral properties. A spokesman for the Doherty Institute told SBS News its research was done under contract from the Australian garlic producers. The study shows efficacy of one type of garlic against influenza A and SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19 in vitro only, the spokesman said. These findings do not show medical treatment application. Stringent clinical trials would need to be conducted to determine if these findings translated from test tubes to humans. So the Doherty Institute, of course, have issued a press statement as well related to this. It's a couple of lines long, but basically it covers what I just said there. What's interesting is if you go to an article that was published in the ABC, you can see where all of this kind of gets murky, because this garlic manufacturer, this producer, is selling these capsules as a supplement, okay? And in the Doherty Institute, I'll show it on the news article from Channel 9 as well, from the mainstream media. These doctors from the Doherty Institute, Dr. Julian Macaulay from the Doherty Institute, right? In one statement, she says, Dr. Macaulay said if the variety of garlic was taken as a dietary supplement, it would combine with the COVID virus and prevent it from infecting the cells in our digestive tract. Okay, I know that's a very specific type of thing she's given, but the way that this was all connected together and tied together in the news story was giving the impression that this garlic supplement would have these benefits, as these antiviral benefits for COVID-19. And that study itself was backed by the Doherty Institute, who was paid for by these manufacturers. But that was what was alluded to in the news coverage. So I'm just going to play you that news coverage to give you an understanding of that. Let's have a watch.
Farmingtown has uncovered a type of garlic so potent, scientists have used it to stop COVID in its tracks. Lab testing revealed 3 particular types of the vegetable can stave off both influenza A and the COVID Delta strain.
527 kilometres north of Melbourne, in a tiny place called Iraq, 95% of Australia's garlic is produced. And for what's considered a pretty ordinary vegetable, people growing it say they've made an extraordinary discovery.
So I've spent a lifetime on, functional foods, garlic especially, and finally we've sort of worked out that not all garlic is equal.
There's about 340 types of garlic in the world, but the growers in Iraq felt theirs was superior and could help fight illness. It turns out they were right.
Let's test whether or not it can kill the virus. And we did lots and lots of tests of lots of different products, and we found one of their products really, really was quite active.
The reason they got the Doherty Institute on board was because they wanted to prove the garlic supplement they were developing wasn't a gimmick and actually had antiviral properties. And so Iraq's garlic was trialled and tested for 18 months.
One garlic variety actually consistently reduced the infectiousness of the virus, and some forms of it actually degraded the virus genome, indicating complete virucidal activity.
Scientists have long said that the nutritional value in garlic is lost as soon as you heat it. And the new finding is that no matter the temperature, some strains of garlic are only good for their taste.
There's a lot of people around the planet are eating garlic for health benefits, and they might not be eating a variety that offers any health benefits.
Australian garlic supplements have now been released on the market. Laura Turner, 9 News.
Yeah. So as you can see, Doherty Institute and these garlic manufacturers, the media, all shilling to sell these supplements. And like I said, this shows you the dubious nature of the relationship between these institutes that get paid to do these studies, the media then that gets involved in promoting these products, and then the consumer who watches this kind of news and goes, yes, well, this seems reasonable, right? This seems like it's going to work. And then they go off and buy these products. But what's happened here is because the so-called anti-vaxxers and COVID skeptics have pulled out this issue, saying that, of course, we've known for a long time that garlic has these type of effects, right? Historically, we've known. And I think that's why a lot of people are making fun of this issue, saying that we don't need these experts, right? With these experts at the Doherty Institute to tell us about the benefits of garlic, right? But now they went ahead and claimed all these, 99.9% efficacy and all these things, right? And now they're being called out on it by themselves. Their own scientists are calling them out on it. Okay, that's what's happened. And in the crossfire, everyone else who talked about this issue is being caught up in it because the fact checkers are after it. Everyone that shares it is being called an anti-vaxxer, and we're being blamed for, essentially, people who are talking about this issue are being blamed for spreading misinformation when the misinformation they were saying came itself from the Doherty Institute and these garlic producers. That's what I can kind of read from. I'm not saying that they did it purposely, but that's the what's being said here in these articles, right? Let's have a look. I'll finish up with this article. The research has been widely shared online, predominantly by COVID-19 skeptics. I think there's a lot of COVID-19 skeptics out there for many different reasons. We've got here Craig Kelly, former MP and now with the UAP, sharing a little bit about his thoughts about garlic. Corey Bernardi sharing some thoughts about garlic. Avi sharing some thoughts about garlic based on my tweet of making fun of the garlic post that was shared by Channel 7. Anyway, you get the idea. They go into this whole spiel about can garlic fight COVID and all this stuff. And, then they give this whole breakdown of why anti-vaxxers latched onto the garlic study, right? Who do these people think they are? Literally, you can't criticize any of these things. You can't talk about any of this without them jumping down your throat and trying to label you as a anti-vaxxer or a COVID skeptic, right? Even when they themselves are sharing this type of information incorrectly or rightly or whatever it is, we are entitled to call it out, and that's what we're doing. And I'm going to continue to look into Garlic Gate, keep an eye on garlic. Of course, it's a very yummy delicacy in terms of how you eat it and use it in your cooking. So there's those benefits of researching garlic as well. But I'm very interested to see where this topic leads to. All right, guys, if you're enjoying my content and liking what I'm doing, you can follow me on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Rumble, and Odyssey at The Real Rukshan. See you next time.